Today we are talking about moving to Japan and some of the processes and things that we had to do before and after moving here. And today we have a wonderful guest, Ananya.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, can you give a little introduction to yourself and your journey?
So I just moved to Japan in end of April, and my background is I've been studying Japanese since 2012, 2013, and I've been self-studying, and so I make a lot of content about how I learned and about my experience in Japan, living here for the first time. And yeah, I'm from America, and I'm also Indian, so yeah.
Awesome. I'm Emma. I've been here for 8 years now, and I came here on working holiday visa.
I'm Sarah, and I also came here on a working holiday visa from Australia, and I'm not counting how long I've been here, but let's just say 6 years. And we asked you guys on Instagram to send us questions in to ask Ananya, so we're gonna round some of those up and get going.
Let's
You
do it.
ready?
Yes, I'm so ready.
What are some big things you did to prepare for the move?
Oh yeah, that's a good question, because I feel like I have a lot of regrets.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay, first off, what do, right? Like, I was on the internet and I was like, things you do before you move to Japan.
Fair enough.
And when I did that, I felt like the key things that I needed to know was like, okay, how am I gonna have Wi-Fi? Am I gonna have a phone number? How do I get a bank account? And then where do I live? Like, those were like the main things that I knew would be like a hassle. And they were, like, I was prepared and they were still a huge hassle. Figuring out like your phone number, because I honestly did not care that much about finding a phone number and stuff, and then once I got here I realized how many things require that in the forms or whatever. And then also looking up how to get your bank account. Like, I was literally crying in a bank because I was like, I'm sorry, I've done this so many times and I speak Japanese, yet this is so complicated.
Yep.
So yeah, I would say those two things.
I'm like traveling back 8 years ago. I'm like, oh, I remember, yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's so stressful.
It's so rough. It's
Yeah.
so rough.
Yeah, looking up those things, and then also even to this day I have so many problems with like Wi-Fi and data. Like, I'm just out in the city with nothing
Oh, no.
half the time because I carry around portable Wi-Fi.
Right.
And it's all I can really do right now.
Yep.
So.
I think depending on the contract you want, they'll be like, okay, what's your visa? How long are you here for? Because then they won't let you sign for certain things unless you have like certain months or like,
Yeah.
1 year.
Yeah, I mean, I had that issue when I came here because I tried to get a phone thing so that I could sign up for a bank account, but you need the bank account to get the phone number, and to get the address, you need the bank account with the phone number. And I had a debit card. I didn't own a credit card, and they really love credit cards here. They're like, debit cards, I don't know about that. And so I had an Australian debit card, and nowhere would accept it, and my visa was 6 months, so nowhere would accept me. And so I had a lot of issues. And I didn't speak much Japanese, and I cried so often. So I feel you. Yeah, very, very frustrating.
Tissues before moving to Japan.
Yeah, bring
Oh,
tissues.
yeah,
That's how you
yeah.
prepare to go to Japan.
I agree.
Yeah. What did you do to prepare?
I think because I came on an exchange year in Kyoto, like the school helped us set up a lot of things in the beginning, except for like we got the Yucho. Everyone who comes to Japan has to get like a Yucho bank account
Yeah.
to start with. Yeah,
I love you
and
guys.
it's actually terrible though.
At least I have an account, that's all. I don't know how to do anything with it.
Yeah, I've been with Yucho for 8 years, and I wanna.
I think it's good at the beginning.
It's so good
Because you just need to sign up for things. You just
Yeah.
got like,
Yeah.
you can put income in there, you can withdraw, deposit, all that. But it's not great long term. It's like a good, get on that.
I'm not looking forward to going
okay.
back to this.
And then you'll get rejected by a lot of like banks because of like ridiculous reasons that they won't even tell you.
Oh no, because I applied to a different bank first, because I was like, no, I mean, you try get that it's like the go-to. But I was like, I want to be a step ahead.
Yeah.
It was the worst idea ever. I was playing mail phone tag with my bank,
no.
and they were like, oh, like your katakana name isn't the same as your English name on your IDs, so like we're gonna need like another ID. And I was like, I just got here. I don't really have very many of those things. And so I just gave up. I was like, no.
Do you have a middle name?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yep. And that is like gonna be the worst thing ever. Do not have a middle name.
Don't.
If
Before you come to Japan,
get rid of it.
Forget about it. Get rid of it. I regret so much having it right now.
And they'll think it's your first name, but it's actually like, your last name. Yeah.
And if they see it, they're like, are you the same person?
Yeah.
Because you only have your first and last name.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
just give me my package.
Yeah.
I'm me.
Yeah. Shah just says Shinsei saves lives. I went through the same thing you went through with Shinsei because I had a 6-month visa. Because it was a working holiday, I had to renew that twice. And no matter what I said, like, oh, I'm gonna renew it, I have plans, they're like, that's not official enough, so I wasn't allowed to get a bank account. I could only go with Yucho. If you have a year, go to Shinsei. How do you find an apartment when you move here? Or I guess just a place to live? For me, I had the experience, I think for a lot of people trying to move here, going through the genuine Japanese system of finding an apartment in Japanese when you're moving here is really, really difficult. And might not work out because they like to see proof of work and salary and everything. So when I first moved here, I got a English-friendly month-to-month contract place, which was very expensive and very small, but it did the job of what I needed it to do. So yeah, but if I did it again, I'd probably live in a share house because I feel like there's good quality share houses out there for when you first move here.
Yeah, I mean, when I first moved here too, I'd heard about all these things, and I was looking on like the Sumo website, which is like the go-to like
Japanese
apartment
one, right?
Japanese website. And they don't even have pictures of the inside a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know, they're just the buildings. And I don't know, just seeing it, and it was all in Japanese too on top of that, I was just like, nope. And then on top of that, baking, and then like a bunch of other fees that you...
Baking.
What else?
Insurance, shipping, baking, insurance, money, a lot of
fees.
hidden fees.
Yeah.
I don't know how a Japanese person who's like straight out of college can afford something like that straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of money. And I was just like, this is a scam. I don't want to pay this. And so then straight off the bat, I figured like a share house would be better because you don't have to pay those things and you're around other people. And I just didn't want to live by myself like when I first got here. So yeah, I moved into a share house. I did a lot of research, and there's so many good ones like all through Japan. So it was like a perfect decision.
Yeah. I think if I did it again, I'd do that.
The thing is, like, you don't know what the place is like until you move in. So I feel like you might have to move several times. Like, I've moved so many times, especially when I did my exchange. I moved 3 or 4 times. Like, I went into a dorm, and then I went into an apartment, and I was like, I don't like this apartment. So then I moved, and so it's like always a journey finding a good place. Like, I know. Like everyone has different experiences.
Also for pricing, I believe share houses are much cheaper because you don't have to pay all those initial fees as well. And when I got my own apartment, it was very expensive for a much smaller space than what you could get with an open share house as well. Also, if you go straight into renting like a full-on Japanese place and you have to pay all of the fees to get in there as well, the monthly fee can look a little bit cheaper sometimes, but the initial fees are going to be crazy. I solo traveled for a month all over Japan, but I didn't realize that in the first 2 weeks you need to register to get a residence card. And in that time you also need to say where you're living and your address and stuff. So that's going to suck. But yeah, if you have a residential address or a friend's address that you can use when you first get here, in the first 2 weeks, go to the local ward office, register the address on the residence card.
But each time you move, you have to re-register.
Yeah, and it's
I was
gonna
gonna
suck.
say that's the tough part because you were saying you moved around a lot, and I was like, I know, but I did not know they have to like print it physically
And
on your
stamp
card
it.
every
I
single
had
time.
so many that there was no space.
Yeah, I don't know what did they do after that. They just don't print it.
Yeah, I think I don't remember. Like there were just so
man.
many stamps.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, I'm already running out of space in this thing. Like,
Get a new Zaidu card.
yeah.
What's your experience in Japan as a Daisy American?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of interesting because it's like there's multiple sides of it. Because when a Japanese person first sees me, they think I'm straight, like from India, for example, right? And then when they talk to me, I'm speaking Japanese. So then they're like, oh, she's like half. And then as they continue to talk to me, they're like, oh, she's American and she's studying Japanese. Okay, I get it. So then like this picture has to like slowly come together. And if I don't explain either part of it, they have this like skewed view of me.
Right.
And I think the go-to is that they usually think I'm like half or something, because the way I speak Japanese is like almost like an international student that grew up here. Maybe I'm not half, but like I grew up here kind of thing. I feel like the behavior towards me though, day to day is not that different, but obviously I feel like it's the same across the board for foreigners. It's like, sugoi nihongo jouzu, and like that's kind of the go-to. But I don't think it changes that differently. It just sucks when you like go to places where like Japanese people don't really want foreigners or have had bad experiences with foreigners in the past, because as soon as they see you, they just sort of like shut you down. And personally, I think what I found the most like frustrating is like, imagine like a very Japanese establishment, like a restaurant or something. Like you can go in there, but you try with like a foreigner friend. If it's the two of you, you're not getting in there. But if you're with a Japanese person, instantly everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like you won't even realize that you were potentially gonna be like rejected in the beginning. So that like changes the entire dynamic.
Yeah. I feel a huge difference when my parents visit. Or like if I'm with them and then I go in somewhere, the treatment can be a bit, different, a little bit abrasive, where it's like, I've been rejected from restaurants before.
Because what you're with, like...
They're like, oh, we're full.
Yeah.
And I've been like, oh, like in Japanese, like, how long's the wait? And they're like, oh, like 5 minutes. What do you mean?
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think they just are worried, but I don't know.
It's complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
But
I definitely feel like there's definitely moments where you try and speak Japanese and they still don't register
Yeah,
speaking Japanese. How was that? Because your Japanese is so natural. Like, was that upsetting, or were you like, I know about it?
I feel like as a kid learning Japanese, I was just so optimistic, and I felt like if I knew the language, I could break down any barrier that was placed ahead of me. But when it's like an absolute stranger who's like running a restaurant or whatever it is, like you can speak Japanese and it will make absolutely no difference because of how you look. And you know, showing around a bunch of close friends of mine, and everyone was just, you know, like
it's kind of
full. And it's like, wait, I'm speaking Japanese to you, yet you're, you know. And so I've learned to accept that because, you know, they're just people at the end of the day.
That's the best way to go about it. I've come to that.
Yeah.
Just like, it is what it is.
Yeah,
It is
I'm
what
like,
it is.
they're busy, they see it like, oh God, I don't know how to deal with this right now. Like, I'm like, maybe it's that kind of attitude.
Yeah,
so.
but the American inside of me, like sometimes when they're like no, I'm like, why?
Tell
me why. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I want to ask so badly.
Next question is it difficult making Japanese friends?
That's a tricky question. I mean, do you guys have any like straight off the bat thoughts on that?
So for me, I found it a little bit difficult, but also my Japanese level is not that advanced. But also I think as I went straight into living alone the entire time, I haven't been in an environment where I'm around Japanese people speaking Japanese. Like, I have a few Japanese friends that I've met here, but mostly, people that I already knew when I was in Australia. And of course my co-workers who I love.
I feel like because I tried to integrate myself so much when I first came, like I did homestays, I did like exchange at a Japanese university, like I was trying to make Japanese friends, like the active effort. And so like I have a lot of Japanese friends, and like my favorite kind of Japanese friends I have are the most international ones, because I found like the more of an international background they have, or like an international mindset, it's easier to have like a deeper connection. So it kind of made me step back and be like, oh, I also want to have foreign friends. So like I'm kind of in the middle now. But I definitely can make Japanese friends. But I've struggled to like maintain what I thought was a good friendship, because like it kind of fell apart. Which made me really upset, and I was like, oh my God, but then like I figured out what works for me.
I will just quickly say as well, recently I've been going to a lot of like art shows and music shows, and I feel like I'm actually finally meeting Japanese people that are in international communities that I'm really like vibing with and getting along with. So that's been really, really cool and kind of new for me from where I've come from as well.
Yeah, I think I fall into the exact same space because, you know, you meet all these, well, I think in America I was making a lot of Japanese friends through like online platforms.
Same, I did that in Australia.
And so at this point, like it doesn't feel that weird at all. Like coming here, I was like, oh yeah, I have Japanese friends. But I feel like the friends that I have at the end of the day are usually the ones that are international minded or kind of more open minded in like a Japanese setting. They're like known by their Japanese friends to be like a little bit quirky.
That's the same.
So like there's like these certain like characteristics that they have that make it more likely that they'd be friends with like foreigners. And when that happens, it's like perfect. But one of my foreign coworkers was saying how he felt like Japanese people, like, yeah, you can definitely be friends with them, you can hang out with them, but I think it's harder to get closer with them. And on top of that, they kind of compartmentalize their friend groups. Like they don't like to mix them up a lot. And if you're like, yo, like introduce me to your friends, like that's not how it works. Like there's high school friends, there's college friends, there's these friends, so it's not like mixed up as much. So it's a little tricky to enter those circles, but you know, if you find the right person, I think it's easier in that sense.
Good summary. I'm really curious, how did you go about finding a job here? Because I know like as an American, you can't come here on a working holiday visa, so you had to have it all lined up, right? And then like, how are you finding the work-life balance culture here in Japan?
I feel like just finding a job in Japan is just, you really have to just be creative and like out of the box, just as how you'd make Japanese friends. You have to just put a lot of effort into it. And in my case, like I tried so many different things. You know, I tried to study abroad in college. I tried to get like an internship in Japan. A lot of these things fell through because of COVID. And so then at that point I was kind of at like my end. I was like, okay, I wasn't meant to be here or something like that. So I was really giving up at that point, and I was trying like internal transfer, because after college I was working for a really big company, and you know, I tried to do internal transfer, and you know, I was very new at the company, so I couldn't. And luckily, like, I do social media, and my first social media was Twitter, and I think Twitter in Japan is such a good tool to build your network. I tell all my friends this. And so yeah, the founder of my current company, which is a startup, he found me like a year ago through my Twitter content and asked me if I wanted to join the team, and I was like, yes. And so they did all my visa stuff.
That's amazing.
I was super lucky. But I also feel like right now a lot of companies in Japan are looking for more talent, but they don't really know where to go. So if you find a way to like stick out, it's a huge benefit. But at the same time, I also feel like once I got here, I saw a lot more opportunities coming. Whereas when I was in the US, I was like, no one really knew.
Yeah.
So
I think they also care about you already being here. Like,
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
applications, like, do you have your
huge.
COE, like, all that.
Yeah, so I feel like it's definitely hard to find a job in Japan. I was definitely thinking about being like an English teacher or like the other routes, like
just get your foot through the door kind of
considering-
thing.
Yeah, which I know a lot of people do, but it's like finding what works for you, right? So yeah, it's
And like
tricky.
the work-life culture. How's that?
Oh yeah, I was really nervous about it at first too, but my company's super like foreign-minded. It's like foreign and Japanese, and we all speak English. And by the way, I feel like in a workplace, when you speak Japanese, the vibe shifts so quickly. Like, even in my company, sometimes I'm like, whoa, we're getting really like Japanese here, like, you know? And so there's definitely some culture that comes in. It's like more of a like polite atmosphere that comes together. You can't be as like frank with one another when it's Japanese. But I mean, my company's a lot more chill in that sense. We're like very direct with each other. But Japanese work culture, yeah, like work hours are pretty insane. And like most of my friends who work for very Japanese companies, they don't leave the company until like 7 p.m., which is unbelievable. From someone like me from America is like crazy.
What are your work hours like? Normally?
Mine are from like 10 to 6.
Okay.
And then like a little bit afterwards, but yeah, it's not crazy. But yeah, the work culture in Japan is terrifying. Like, I'm very glad I'm not working for one of those companies right now.
Yeah.
You got that.
Yeah, you got that.
Got an interesting question about like if you can come to Japan with zero Japanese, or like I came with not as much Japanese, but you guys both came with quite a lot of Japanese. About how was it even knowing Japanese, going through all of the bureaucracy and all the processes of moving here?
I feel like I thought that it would be a lot more English friendly when I got here, so I was kind of like, you know, you come to a new country and yes, I speak the language, but the kind of words that you see in like administrative or like, you know, like immigration related things, it's completely different from what I was used to studying. And I just was like, English please, like I just want to, like, what I'm comfortable with. It's kind of scary, it's kind of
Signing
intimidating.
contracts,
But the thing is, like, I was kind of shocked at how useful it is to have Japanese, especially because like I got like pretty sick every now and then when I first moved here, because you're around so many people in a given day. I feel like anything that was viral, I was like getting it from the trains. I was like, this is scary. Then when I went to the doctor, I was like, oh my god, like, thank God I speak Japanese, because this entire form is in Japanese. And it's like right by my house. I don't have to like look for English speaking, like, you know,
clinics
hospitals.
and pay more, which they usually cost.
Exactly. So that was a huge help. And yeah, speaking Japanese in general, like, I felt like coming here and also having friends, like straight off the bat, I didn't have to rely on many people and I could just kind of do my thing.
I think there's a lot of good online resources if you don't speak Japanese. Like, there's lots of articles and you can do that, but it definitely makes your life a lot more difficult.
Like it is possible to move here with no Japanese. It's just going to be a bit tougher. I see things online all the time of like, well, if you're living in the country, you should learn the language. That's true, but also I think when people are immigrating or going anywhere, there should be their language available. Even if someone's coming to an English-speaking country, their language should be available. Like, especially for immigration and for like freshly coming into the country stuff. So, oh man, just so many experiences of like when I went to go get a bank account, it took me so long to work up the courage, and I went into Yucho and I was like, 銀行口座をしたいです. And they're like, what do you want it? What do you mean? I was like, したいです. you want to do the bank account? So, and the kanji and everything was very, very frustrating and very difficult, but it's all about, if you got the willpower, you can do it.
Yeah.
It is possible, but you just got to be ready to go through some
Also, get a good
experiences.
pen because you're gonna write a lot.
That's
You're gonna
true.
write your address and name.
a lot.
Yeah, you're gonna write it like 3 times, sign it, get a
God.
hunko, get all that
If
stuff.
you want to learn any kanji, learn your address.
Yeah.
Learn
your
your
name.
I still
I
can't write it out.
write it.
I'm like,
I'm like, let me put my phone out, and they're looking at me like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
And I'm
I'm
like, I
literally
can't remember my address.
Oh my god, I was signing an apartment contract, like a renewal, and they're like, write your address here, 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 and here. And I had to do it over and over again. The guy watched me the whole time. I was doing it all in kanji, and at the end, I had my hanko, and he was like, oh, do you want me to do your hanko for you? It must be crazy because you don't have hanko in your country, do you? I was like, write the kanji! I can stamp a stamp. Why are you making me write the kanji out if you're going to stamp my stamp for me? I was very angry internally, but I smiled.
I don't know why they stare at you when you're writing your address. It creates so much
Yeah.
pressure.
My writing's so ugly, I kind of get it.
I have my own question because none of you guys asked it. What do you think about the food here? Like coming from the US, everyone loves food, and like I found it really hard. Like I love Japanese food, but like long term, it's hard to adapt.
Yeah. I mean, like the food is life-changingly good. It's so yummy, but like you're only gonna get the same like personality traits of these foods. They all have the same like flavor
palette.
Yeah, and you're just like, I'm tired of talking to you 3 people. Like, can you please like hang out somewhere
Variety,
else?
yeah.
Like, where are my other friends at? Like, and so
That's so good.
I just feel like I miss like not eating just like fish, rice, and then curry. Like, I feel like those are the go-to items. And obviously there's like a ton of variety here, but like, you know, you're just not getting other flavor palettes, and I really miss that kind of feeling of getting to eat whatever I wanted back
Like
home.
what would, if you could have one thing, what would it be?
Oh my god, wait,
Like,
that's
right now,
such a
just
tough
like-
question. I feel like I've tried like to mentally erase
The flavor,
all the flavors so I can't like remember them again. I miss good pizza, for example, like for starters, like
American style pizza?
yeah, American style pizza. The cheese here is so weird. I don't know if you guys know what Ike's sandwiches are.
No.
Oh, it's a really popular like sandwich chain, and oh fuck, there's so many options. I also like miss just like actual Indian food so much. Macaroni and cheese.
Oh, there you go.
There's no good mac and cheese here. Like I feel like that's like a oh my god, I have one. Cereal.
That's so
Do you guys
American.
not
That's
get-
so
I bring
American.
cereal back with me.
That's really Australian cereal?
here.
Yeah, I brought Cocoa Pops and like oh, but I did see Lucky Charms at National Azabu. Guess how
They're
much?
like 20 bucks. I think.
2,000 yen
It's insane.
for a box of Lucky Charms.
And I feel
Crazy.
like cereal was just like my comfort food. That along with like just like good South Indian food, like those two things like made up my childhood, and I don't think I have either here as often. And especially like American cereal, because all of it's like cornflake related here.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, this is not
They got
it.
some weird ones. There was curry cereal a few years ago that could have combined your interests.
No,
Yum.
Japan, no,
Yeah,
please
cur-
don't do
curry
that.
granola
Oh
was
god.
an experience.
Thanks for sitting here and answering all the lovely questions we received.
Of
and
course.
we'll probably catch up with you in 1 year's time and be like, have you adjusted?
Oh yeah. That'd be good.
And do it part 2. But thanks for joining.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
Let us know down below if there was anything we missed. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
I mean, I have long sleeves. What do you want from me?
Yeah, we want to peek in the audio.
There you go.
It's better if you scream, if anything.
Okay.